Thank you for inviting me here today. My name is Joanna Jones and I'm the Local Service Board Development Officer for Carmarthenshire. Just to give you a bit of background about the Local Service Board and how it was formed, because I know some of you will be unfamiliar with the actual concept of the Local Service Board. It was actually formed in Carmarthenshire in 2007 as a result of a then Welsh Assembly Government review looking into improving public service delivery. We were one of the initial 6 pilot areas which were set up to encourage more public sector collaboration. So to give you an example of some of the representation on the board, we have the local authority, the health board, the police, the fire and rescue service, the environment agency, of course CAVS has a seat on there, and other areas have different representation. So we have the college and the university within Carmarthenshire, some have the national parks, etc. So as I said, we established one of the first pilot areas, so that's been running now for 6 years. And within Carmarthenshire, we had 2 initial priorities, which were sustainable development and health and social care integration. And that's really come a long way. So I know a lot of you would work within those areas and would have seen the development that's happened within the county, particularly around health and social care. So that's one of the key developments that we've done over the last 6 years. I'll just give you some key headlines, really, going back over the last year as to what we've developed within Carmarthenshire specifically. So I don't know whether you would have heard of the Integrated Community Strategy, and that's really our key plan within the county, which we all work to. And that was done in 2011 within Carmarthenshire, but since that plan has been developed, the Welsh Government have actually now made that compulsory across Wales. So all local service board areas now have to have a single integrated plan. And what that means is that whereas you would have heard of previously the health and social care, wellbeing strategy, the young people, children and young people strategy, the community safety strategy, all those are now encompassed within one document. And that's available on our website, which I can give you details at the end of. So following on from the integrated plan then, the other key developments that we've done within the county over the last year would be, again, following on from the initial commitment with sustainable development. So we've developed a Making Carmarthenshire a Sustainable County group, and that group has really come a long way over the last 5 years. They've committed to reduce carbon emissions in buildings. They've also reduced the amount of waste that's gone to landfills. So we've increased our recycling rates within public sector buildings. We've also committed to reduce the annual mileage, which we actually do as part of our working life within the public sector. And also a lot of organisations now have committed to go fair trade, which I know is key within our current working climate. Also, another key development within the county is that we've been able to draw down a lot of European funding, which obviously being a convergence area is key to our ongoing work. And the Local Service Board has been able to access a particular stream of funding within the European funding pot to improve public service delivery. And that's enabled us to secure a number of projects which have been able to further the work that's been going on. So an example of a few of those projects for you to be aware of, which I'm sure you've already heard of, is firstly Advice and Support Carmarthenshire, which employed a coordinator to look at the anti-poverty agenda within the county and to pull together all the relevant organisations which work to that agenda. And that project is delivering all the outcomes that it's set out to achieve to date. Also, we've been able to employ an Environment Partnership Coordinator, so again, to further the work of the Sustainable Development Commitment. We've also been able to secure funding to put in third sector brokers, which you may be able to hear more about later on in the day. And that's really looking at bridging the gap between health and social care in terms of the statutory service delivery with the voluntary sector side, so bridging that gap, signposting people to relevant services, and those posters seem to be really key in terms of upskilling and making sure that the third sector are really there at the forefront of service delivery. Additionally, we've been able to secure funding to look at developing a public sector apprenticeship scheme, That's another real key point in terms of the ongoing European funding money grant, that employment and youth employment particularly is seen as a key issue going forward. And that actual programme will then look to pull together all the public sector organisations within Carmarthenshire and look at developing one single point of contact for apprenticeships and give access then for anybody, not just youths, into that side of training. It'll also look to upskill current workforce where potentially jobs are ending and they need to be upskilled to move to another area of work. That will then be coinciding with the one-stop shop, which I know you would have heard of, called Un Sirga, and that service will then form part of the bigger one-stop shop that we've got in terms of accessing jobs and training and employment opportunities. Another key development over the last 12 months would be the ongoing development of Carmarthenshire News, which I hope that you've all received copies through your front doors. And that was actually taken from the original idea of the Carmarthenshire County Council community news publication, which was a council publication. And the local service board took the decision to actually form a public sector newsletter. So all the organisations actually input financially into that newspaper and obviously content. There's 6 editions over the year, and they vary from different topics, and I'm sure that you will find it a very interesting read. So that's in the 3rd year of its actual development now, and going from strength to strength, it's had even more financial contribution put towards it over the last 2 years from the partners, and it's seen as a key kind of deliverer of messages in terms of service changes and things going on within the county. So that's just given you really a flavour of what's happened over the last 12 months. Of course, there's a lot more work that's happened, but I can't cover it all here this morning. Just in terms of going forward then, over the next year, we've got some key priorities that we're going to be looking at. So as I mentioned earlier on, the integrated plan is seen as our kind of focus in terms of priorities over the next 5 years. And to back that document up, we've also developed what's called as a joint needs assessment. So that's kind of a evidence base to back up the priorities that we've decided are important for the county. So that's a comprehensive, really, review in terms of data and statistics and intelligence that we've gathered over the last 6 months. And that document's now actually being published at the end of March and will be available for everybody on our local service board website. And really, that's kind of another focus for the year going forward in terms of keeping that document up to date and ensuring that we are delivering on priorities that are important to the county. And the third sector also contributes to that production and also, of course, to the integrated strategy, as there are certain priorities within that which are focused significantly on the third sector. In addition to that, I'm sure that you're all aware of the welfare reform changes that are coming through in the next year, and those are obviously going to be significant for Carmarthenshire as well as Wales. And the local service board has that as a standing item on their bi-monthly meetings. So each of the partners discusses what the potential impact would be, and in terms of then trying to reduce the impact, we look at particular works or projects that we can do to try and mitigate the impact. Some of you may be aware that there's a local authority task and finish group actually set up to look at welfare reform, and local service board partners are then invited into that forum to give evidence that will help us form a comprehensive kind of map, really, of where the significant pockets of the county that are going to be affected with those changes. Finally then, the remaining focus then for the year going forward would be in terms of local and regional collaboration. That's kind of been put to the forefront with the Welsh Government in terms of looking at working across boundaries, working within our regional footprints, which vary quite significantly on different parts of the council's work. We have a 3 counties footprint for Hywel Dda, which works with Ceredigion and Pembrokeshire, which is one area that we look at. And then also you've got the wider Mid and West Wales boundaries, and I'm sure there's another raft of boundaries that regeneration and other areas work to, but we'll be looking to try and kind of find some cohesive approach in pulling those boundaries together and working with our neighbouring local service boards to deliver joint projects and try and save on resources and be as efficient as we can in delivering our public services to the citizens of the county and further. So that was really kind of a snapshot of the work that the local service board does. If you do want to find out further information about it, then you're welcome to email me directly. My email address, I know I haven't got any slides or anything to put up, but my email address is jjones@carmarthenshire.gov.uk. So you can have, if there's any documents that you want or any further information, then please feel free to email me. And we also have a website which you'll find the integrated strategy and so on, all those documents on. And that is www.thecarmarthenshirepartnership.org.uk. But if there's anything on there that you can't find, then obviously please come through to me and I'll do my best to help you.